Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. Today is Monday and it's June 1st. Only 2 more weeks until the end of school. Oh my goodness. I have mixed feelings. I'm excited for summer, but I'm also sad to see my 5th graders move on. As you see, I have a jacket on. It's a little bit colder than last week. The temperature definitely dropped over the weekend. It's nice to get some relief from the heat. We're reading It Ain't So Awful Falafel by Firoozeh Dumas. The chapter we left off on is called Proof. Carolyn decides that we need to go to Brock's right away and catch him off guard. I don't want to, but I can't say that to Carolyn. We start walking to his house. I hope it's not Brock. I feel like throwing up. This is my first foray in detective work, and I am not cut out for this. So remember, somebody left a dead rodent at Zomorod's home in front of her doorstep. So now Carolyn and Zomorod, they're putting on their detective hats and they're trying to figure out who would do such a thing. And so they think Brock, because he's done mean things to Zomorod at school and he lives right next door. We rang the doorbell. Brock answers immediately. It's almost as if he's expecting us. Hey, he grunts. Hi, Brock, Carolyn says. I keep quiet. I'm afraid that I might say something wrong and give the plan away. I don't even know what the plan is. Carolyn continues. We're doing a book report on surfing, and we're wondering if we can ask you a few questions. It'll just take a few minutes. I guess, Brock says, flipping his hair out of his face. So what do you like about surfing? Carolyn asks. I don't know. I just like it. He leans against the door. Do surfers usually like animals? Carolyn asks. I guess, Brock answers, looking at us suspiciously. Which animal? She presses on. What does this have to do with surfing? He asked, uttering his longest sentence yet. The report is about surfers and the animals they like, Carolyn says, thinking fast. He seems to buy it. I like dolphins, I guess, and dogs. What about hamsters? Hamsters are cool, Brock says, in a neutral tone of voice. I can't read the expression in his eyes since I can only see one of them. Do you have any? Carolyn asks calmly. My heart is beating so fast that I think Brock must hear it. I did, but it died. Do you still have it? She asks. You mean the dead hamster? Do I still have the dead hamster? Yes. Are you a sicko? I want to turn and run home. We know what you did, Brock, Carolyn exclaims suddenly. There are witnesses. I don't know what you're talking about, he says, taking a step back. Did you or did you not, Brock Fitter, leave a dead hamster in Cindy's front steps on the morning of November 20th, 1979, Carolyn asks. What, he says, looking back and forth between us as if we were completely crazy. I don't think he did it, I whisper. Whatever, I'm out of here, he says, and starts to close the door. Wait, Carolyn says, catching it before he slams it shut. Someone left a dead hamster on Cindy's front door, and we thought it was you. Why? Brock asks, looking genuinely puzzled. You've teased Cindy about camels, and you threw tomatoes at us last week, Carolyn says. I happen to be a fan of dromedaries, or as you might call them, a one-hump camel, and I enjoy throwing tomatoes, he adds, as if hurling vegetables is a legitimate hobby. Okay, I shouldn't have thrown the tomatoes. It was a dare. I'm sorry, Cindy, he says, looking at me. Even though I can still see only one of his eyes, it's enough for me. I accept your apology. He starts to close the door again, then stops. Hey, what did the hamster look like? He suddenly asks. Now, that is a gross question, Carolyn says. No, I mean, I know all the pets in the neighborhood. Haven't you seen my flyers everywhere? I suddenly realized that the flyers all over the greenbelt that say, go on vacation without the jitters, leave your pets with fitters and critters are his. I didn't know he could rhyme. So what did the hamster look like, he asked again. It was light brown with white spots all over, and one of its ears was white, I say, recalling the poor creature. It's Darlene Linden's. She called me last week, all frantic. She was all, Brock, what do I do? Edgar Hoover just ate a whole bar of baking chocolate, and I was like, chocolate is so killer for hamsters. Go to the vet, Mule Rapido, and just give it as much lettuce as you can. I never heard back, but I didn't know J. Edgar croaked. That's a gnarly way to go. Death by chocolate. No, not good. Carolyn and I looked at each other. Thanks, Brock. We say at the same time. Please don't mention this to anyone, adds Carolyn. No problemo. He shrugs. We let him close the door this time. Carolyn practically drags me back down Brock's driveway. As soon as we reach the sidewalk, she yells, I told you it was Sydney. I knew it. I knew it. I can't believe it, I say. She was a jerk to me, but she doesn't seem like someone who would do something so cruel. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? Asked Carolyn ominously. Whoa, did you just make that up? Of course not, she said. It's from The Shadow, an old radio show. Never heard of it, I say. You know, Sydney, sometimes I forget you're not American. Except that none of this would be happening to me if I were American, I pointed out. We walk in silence for a minute. But why did you recognize the hamster? Why didn't you recognize the hamster? Carolyn asked. I haven't gone over Sydney's in a long time. The last time I was there, she didn't have a hamster. We have to think about what our next move should be, Carolyn says. Give me a few days. I gotta go back now. Home now. But to be continued. All right, so it looks like Carolyn and Zomorod have definitely cracked part of the case, not the complete case. So they think Sydney is the culprit for leaving the dead hamster. Love makes this house a home. I can't wait. As soon as Carolyn's mom picks her up, I walk next door and ring the doorbell. A few seconds later, original Sydney is standing in front of me. My heart is racing and my palms are sweating. I'm not sure I should have done this, but it's too late. Hi, Cindy, I say, trying to sound calm. Hi, Cindy, she says. Listen, it's not a good time right now. Can I say something for a minute? I know it's been a while, but I want to apologize for calling Magic a unicorn. Original Cindy looks a little surprised. Thank you. I'm sure Magic will appreciate that, but I'm still kind of busy. This will just take a minute, I insist, taking a deep breath. I decide to copy the method of detective work used by Carolyn, who I'm pretty sure copied Nancy Drew. This is about what happened on November 20th. November 20th, she repeats. You mean today? Correct. You noticed? She asked. Noticed what? That I haven't been at school? I'm so confused. Nancy Drew would know what to say. I don't. Hold on. Let me show you something, original Cindy says, running up the stairs. I wait outside her front door, staring down at her welcome mat. Love makes this house a home, it says, with a cheery apple border. I wonder what she's going to show me. I hope it's not a dead animal. Here it is, she says as she returns, holding up a yellow ribbon. 3rd place, best finish yet. What is this, I ask. 3rd place ribbon, she says, handing me the prize. Look, you were at a horse show today? I asked, reading the inscription. Yes, in Carmel, she says. I just got back an hour ago. That's why I haven't been at school the past 2 days. It's sweet of you to notice and come over. Congratulations, I say quietly. All those hours at the stable finally paid off, she adds. And you know something, I kind of knew you were still my friend, even though we don't hang out anymore. So it can't be Sydney because she was at a horse show for 2 days. So now we still are not closer to solving the mystery. Sure, I say, handing back the ribbon. I just wanted to congratulate you and Magic, of course. Thanks, she says. Next chapter, to think deeply about something. I have to call Carolyn, even though it's dinner time. Mrs. Williams answers right away. Is everything okay? She asks when she hears the urgency in my voice. Yes, I just have to tell Carolyn something. It'll be quick. Hold on, Mrs. Williams says. A few seconds later, Carolyn is on the phone. It's not her. Cindy was at a horse show in Carmel. Are you sure? She asks. Positive. She has the ribbon to prove it. Silence on the other end of the line. Just as I'm about to say, Carolyn, if she's still there, she says, didn't you mention that she has a brother? Yes, but he's at boarding school in Hawaii. What about her parents? I've never met them. Her mom's a member of our condo association board, I reply. She wasn't very nice when I called to ask about the trash situation, but she's a grown-up. Adults don't do stuff like this. I have to ruminate, Carolyn says. Wait, what does that mean? I ask, but she already hung up. I need to look up ruminate in the dictionary. Next chapter, day 16. On the news that night, we learn that 13 of the 65 hostages are released. We are so happy. My dad says he's certain the rest will be freed soon, but I can't wait. Next chapter. Just another Thursday in November. At Thanksgiving, instead of turkey and all the trimmings, we're having cereal. My dad isn't himself since he lost his job. He just listens to the radio all day like a zombie, and my mom is more depressed than ever, and they don't even know about the dead hamster. After dinner, I go in the living room where my parents are listening to the radio in silence. The reporter is interviewing some of the families of the hostages. We've been hoping they would all be released before Thanksgiving. My mom keeps saying that she feels especially sorry for the 2 women. My dad keeps saying he never imagined that Iran would be the enemy of the world. I wish we could just be like everyone else in Newport Beach, worrying whether or not we're going to have time to buy all the gifts on our Christmas list, wrap them in baked cookies shaped like candy canes. I'd gladly trade unemployment and dead hamsters for those worries of any day. Eventually, my parents turn off the radio. We watch happy people eating Thanksgiving feast on TV and go to bed early. Next chapter, Mary Elizabeth Crenshaw. The Sunday after Thanksgiving, I go over to Carolyn's house. We hurry to her room and close the door. I have made a list of possible suspects in our Girl Scout troop. Carolyn announces, suspect number 1 is Mary Elizabeth Crenshaw. Do you remember how she wanted to share a tent with us at Big Bear and you said there wasn't enough room? But there wasn't enough room. That's besides the point, says Carolyn. Criminals do not need logic. I consider this in silence. Then we have the O'Shaughnessy's twins, Chris and Colleen, she continues. Are you kidding, I asked. They're my friends. They're very competitive in math and they want to go to Harvard. You're the best student in math class. It's possible they want to get you out of the picture. That's ridiculous. I think you've been ruminating too much, I add, smiling at her cleverness. Fine, she sounds a little miffed, but she crosses their names off the list with great flourish. Let's go back to Sydney, she continues. It was, after all, their hamster that ended up at your house. Let's assume Cindy's mom, Darlene Linden, is the perpetrator. Let's also assume she's the one who put the extra trash on your driveway. We need proof. You're going to have to hang out with Cindy at her house, then check her pantry. No way, I reply. There's no way I can do that. I would be so nervous. Not possible at all. No way. Carolyn continues as if she didn't hear me. You mentioned beer and pork rinds. Do you remember the brands? I do remember since I helped clean it up. It was Budweiser beer and El Rancho pork rinds and Dinky Donut cereal. Carolyn writes that down. We have to talk with Brock. I know what to do. Before I can ask any questions, she's rushing to Matt's room. I follow. Hey, Matt, can you please drive me to Carolyn's? Wait, for 10 minutes, then drive me back in exchange? I'll walk Sam for a whole week. Matt looks up from his desk where he's doing his homework. You'll walk Sam and clean up after him for 1 month? 1 whole month, Carolyn protests. Take it or leave it. As I see it, you have no bargaining power. Matt confidently states. Fine, she says. The 3 of us go to the garage. Carolyn gets in the front of the Pinto. I get in the back. As soon as we get to my house, Carolyn says, okay, Matt, can you wait for us here? 10 minutes max. Can do. I'll just be waiting here thinking about how nice it will be not to clean up after Sam for a whole month. I laugh. Don't laugh at his stupid jokes, she says. We go to the back of my house, so it looks like we're going inside, but instead we take the side street to Brock's. We ring the doorbell. Brock answers. What's up, he says. Carolyn wastes no time. Listen, Brock, we have a really important job for you. We need you to go look for something in Darlene Linden's pantry. Whoa, he says, taking a step back. That's a little breaking and entering. I don't do that stuff anymore. That's not what we mean. You have to find an excuse, maybe something having to do with pet sitting. No can do, Brock replies, shaking his head. Cindy will help you with your math homework, Carolyn says, pointing to me. Brock considers this for a while. I focus every ounce of my willpower on keeping a straight face and not kicking my best friend in the shins. Deal, finally, he says. What do I have to do? Carolyn hands him the list. Let us know if she has these items in her pantry. We'll explain later. And do not tell anyone about this. Okie dokie, Brock says. My lips are sealed. As we walk down the driveway, I turn to Carolyn. What was that about me helping him with homework? Did you just throw me under the car? She smiles. The correct expression is throwing someone under the bus. And yes, I did. All right, we're ending there. So it's getting kind of exciting in this mystery of who left the dead hamster. Now Carolyn has invited Brock into the whole shenanigans, and he's going to go spy into the Linden's home. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I hope it's a beautiful day for us today. I look forward to seeing you all soon. I'll see you tomorrow. Toodles.